A witness to evil tells Inside Edition about his role in The Exorcist.
On the Mississippi, a levee breaks. A major bridge is closed as the flood tragedy continues. In Washington, the director of the FBI is told it's time to go.
This is NBC Nightly News, reported by Garrett Utley.
Good evening. Can it get worse? Yes. Much worse? Yes. There was more rain today in the Mississippi Basin, much of it very heavy, and therefore more flooding. President Clinton was back touring the area and said federal troops might be sent in to help with relief efforts in the area. Tonight we report from 3 cities along the Mississippi, the Missouri, and Des Moines rivers. We begin in Quincy, Illinois. Dawn Fratangelo is there.
The worst has happened for the city of Quincy, Illinois, and its neighbors across river in Missouri. The Mississippi finally toppled the levee, protecting the last open bridge for 200 miles.
Crushed. It's a tremendous blow.
This is how it unfolded last night. The force of the water bursting through the levee toppled gasoline fuel tanks, sending a fire racing down the river. Levee workers who worked so hard for weeks raced to safety.
That's Mother Nature. We're pretty arrogant if we think we're going to control her. You know, I mean, she simply had enough of our futile efforts and showed us who was boss.
By morning, the raging floodwaters had covered 14,000 acres of land in Missouri, snapped barges from moorings, and filled homes.
Come on.
Yesterday, Missouri farmer Bob Lundberg was all but certain the levee would hold and spare his house and fields. This is his farm today. Only rooftops and no sign of crops for miles. Bob's wife, Mary Ann.
Just kind of makes me feel like I got to start all over again. It just feels like my life is just going to be totally, you know, changed. So I don't know. We'll make it. I mean, we did before, so we will again. But we won't move back there.
Across river, the heart of Quincy, which sits on a bluff, is not flooded. But with the bridge closed, it might as well be. The city of Quincy is already $1 million in debt from its effort to try to save this levee, and its problems have just begun. The city depends on this bridge for about 35% of its local revenue. Missouri residents also depend on it to get to the only hospital for miles.
We'll get some pregnant ladies over there that would like to get over here to deliver their babies. That's probably one of our more immediate needs.
The city is now asking the federal government for help with emergency transportation. Once again, the Mississippi has won another round. Dawn Fratangelo, NBC News, Quincy, Illinois.
And of course, the floodwaters keep rising because the rain keeps falling, as it did across the Mississippi in Iowa. The struggle, people and sandbags versus the Des Moines River. Jim Cummins is there.
There was a downpour in central Iowa overnight, up to 4 inches of rain in some places, flooding homes and dumping more water into the already overloaded Des Moines River Basin. Within hours, the raging water finally began to overwhelm the earthen levees that separate the river from homes and businesses along the banks. The city manager called the situation extremely dangerous and ordered an immediate evacuation.
The levee has not broken, but it is in imminent danger of collapse at Southeast 8th in the river.
This is the levee that city officials are talking about. At mid-morning, they sounded the first alert, and within an hour, they had evacuated almost everybody in here.
Some left on their own. Others needed to be prompted by police.
Because if that levee breaks, it's going to take a split second for the water to get down here where you're at.
There was a sense of urgency. 150 National Guard troops racing to the scene, scrambling to remove debris and shore up the levee. Colonel Roger Schultz was in charge.
Right behind you here, Jim, you can see where it's actually starting to break away. Literally at the point of right in here, almost separating from the other side of the levee there. So we're very close to losing this levee.
There are always some holdouts in an evacuation. Mike Baker was one of them.
My basement's flooded already. I got water over my water heater and my furnace right now.
Eventually, the bulldozers and troops prevailed.
And we have reinforced the backside of the levee. We have stabilized further erosion on the front side of the levee.
But there are more storms in the weather forecast tonight. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Des Moines.
President Clinton visited the flood area today again for the 3rd time, meeting with governors and offering support, both moral as well as financial. And he toured the St. Louis area where the Mississippi and the Missouri rivers have formed a lake. Pete Williams begins his report in St. Charles.
The president began his visit with a helicopter flight over Missouri's St. Charles County, north of St. Louis. Even before the levees broke, over a third of the county was flooded, most of it farmland, and more water is on the way. On the ground below the president's helicopter, the Mississippi River has swollen to a record level, more than 44 feet above flood stage in St. Louis. It's expected to rise another 2 feet by Monday.
Do you have any sandbags?
Dawn Winslow of South St. Louis is 5 months pregnant. She's packing up and leaving with no place to go.
I want some help. I want some volunteers. I want some sandbags.
To reassure people like her, the president brought nearly half his cabinet with him to meet with governors and members of Congress from 8 Midwestern states. Administration aides say this meeting was the president's idea, getting federal and state officials together, hoping to avoid bureaucratic foul-ups from past disasters. And the president wanted to demonstrate his administration's concern.
Our goal is to just be a good partner. We don't want people to think that they have been abandoned when the immediate emergency is over.
Labor Secretary Robert Reich made sure the message wasn't just the checks in the mail. He handed out $5.5 million in unemployment assistance payments. The governors say the federal government could help most with more disaster assistance for farmers who have lost their crops.
We recognize that people are fighting, frankly, for their lives and their livelihoods.
The president says he's concerned that the 7,300 National Guardsmen at work in the flood states are exhausted. During a radio interview aboard Air Force One, he talked about sending federal troops.
We need to look at either bringing in Guard folks from other states or maybe activating some federal troops.
Pentagon officials say the military will consider any requests they get from the states. But what the governors want most of all is more money. Pete Williams, NBC News, St. Louis.
And to bring you up to date on the cost of the flooding so far, you can't put a price on the human suffering, certainly, but this much is known. 26 people have died. 8.6 million acres are underwater. Total damage is $5 billion and climbing. This afternoon, I asked Vice President Gore how high the bill would be.
Well, we don't have a final estimate because some of the damage assessment cannot be made until the floodwaters have receded. But it's important to go ahead and start the process of recovery. That's why we're moving forward quickly. Some checks have already been delivered. Remember this, Garrick, these are people who are just almost completely wiped out, and it's in our national interest to help them get back on their feet and become productive again as quickly as possible. It's the compassionate thing for us to do as a country, but it's also the hard-nosed, common sense thing for us to do.
On a personal note, you spent the day touring the areas there with the president. What is it that strikes you most when you talk to people there, see what's happened to them?
Well, there are really two stories here. One is the story of heartbreak when you see these families that have lost everything and it's still raining every afternoon and evening in the area, and you see the pain and agony on their faces. It really gets to you. But the second story is a heartwarming story because people are pulling together as never before. Volunteers, neighbors, state, local, and federal government agencies. Everybody is working together very smoothly and well, realizing that some things can't be stopped, like the rain, but realizing that we can make it better in important ways if we work together well. And I think this has been the best coordinated response that you've ever seen to a disaster like this.
Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for being with us this evening.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
As we cover our world this Saturday, we will report next on the FBI director who's been told bluntly it's time to go or be fired. Also on Focus this evening, the new look of the American workforce, part-time workers trying to make ends meet the hard way.
Any kids around at Jane?
Oh, sorry, Billy, not your age.
A little earlier, Jane Stewart was troubled with arthritis pain, so she took a Motrin IB, the same medicine as the Motrin doctors have prescribed for years, but in non-prescription strength. And just one Motrin IB is as effective as 2 regular aspirin.
All right, kid. Let's see what you got.
Aunt Jane?
Come on.
Motrin IB, the relief of Motrin in non-prescription strength.
Dave Baldwin may not own a yacht, but like you, he makes sure the kids get new clothes when they need them. These are the basics. And now you can get something back just by the way you pay for them. The new GE Rewards MasterCard. You get 2% back on everything you buy. $1,000 in coupons and no annual fee. For your GE Rewards MasterCard, just call 1-800-GE-REWARD.
The pressure has been building for several weeks now, and today there was a showdown. FBI Director William Sessions has been asked to quit, and he has refused. Today he was told to quit to make as graceful an exit as possible or be fired. Here's Odetta Rogers.
Even before meeting with the Attorney General, Sessions said he's made it clear to the President that he's not quitting.
No, I do not intend to resign. I told him that I would not resign. It's too important that I actually stay the course all the way.
But in their meeting, Janet Reno reportedly advised Sessions that the President plans to fire him. A senior administration official told NBC News, "It's over, he's out of here, probably in just a few days." 63-year-old Sessions is accused of abusing privileges of the office he's held for nearly 6 years. A Justice Department report last January cited him for avoiding income taxes on the use of his official limousine, using FBI aircraft for personal trips, and spending $10,000 of government money to install a fence around his Washington home. After his meeting at the Justice Department, Sessions fell and broke some bones in his elbow. At the hospital, I spoke with his wife, Alice. She said resigning under a cloud would not make for a graceful exit.
What is graceful about having been charged with things like this that have not been investigated and proven false as they are?
The White House has already begun interviewing possible replacements. Last night, the President met with federal Judge Louis Freeh of New York. Judge Freeh, a former FBI agent, appears to be the leading candidate. A final decision could be made as early as next week. Odetta Rogers, NBC News, at the Justice Department.
Overseas now, political reform in Japan. Tomorrow, voters there will elect a new national parliament. Normally, that would not attract very much attention. The same party has won every election since 1955. But scandals and a weak economy have battered the political establishment. Change could be coming. Jim Maceda's there.
For Prime Minister Kiichi Miyazawa's ruling Liberal Democratic Party, this election campaign meant more than the usual blitz of speech-making, waving, and bowing. This was a fight for its very identity. After a single-handed reign of almost 40 years, the party that brought Japan's economic miracle is running scared. Pork barrel and the promise of more worked in the past, but no longer.
Large majority of Japanese people now express the view that they are just disgusted with the old system.
A system sustained by bribes and influence peddling in a party whose aging leaders, almost without exception, are tainted by scandal. Last month, dozens of pro-reform members bolted the party, forming splinter parties which have surged in recent polls. While the LDP, champion of big business, is expected to lose its majority in parliament and may even lose power to a new coalition.
For years, the only real opposition to the ruling party's policies has been the United States, applying constant pressure from the outside for change. Now, for the first time, change in Japan just might come from within.
And says this new party candidate, it would be good news for America.
Our idea is same as as American policymakers. Well, because we are working for the consumers and the taxpayers.
Japanese who want to spend more hard-earned money on cheaper foreign goods. But she has learned that changing 4 decades of one-party rule will be tough. Crowds, bewildered by hundreds of new candidates, are small. The LDP hopes that tomorrow voters will turn to those they know, even if they don't trust them. Jim Maceda, NBC News, Tokyo.
For many Chinese, the dream is coming here to America. The reality for those coming illegally can be a nightmare, though. Today, the unsuccessful end to an attempt to smuggle hundreds of Chinese all the way across the Pacific into this country. They were taken into custody in Mexico, and they began another journey, a 60-mile bus trip under tight security to the Tijuana International Airport. Most will end up back in China. The smugglers who were trying to bring them here were arrested.
You know, a Carnival cruise is the best vacation value going. You can enjoy fun days at sea, fun-filled nights, fabulous food.
Oh, boy,
Okay, you can say that again.
Great Scott. Willard, what are you doing out here?
Kathy, I'm having the time of my life.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Boy, I can't wait until the midnight buffet.
You think you'll have any room left?
What are you, a comic?
This is your life.
Sprint Express, may I help you?
Sprint is the only global phone company with local, long distance, and cellular. So whether you're calling around the world or around the corner, with Sprint, you can be there now. So whoever said the world doesn't revolve around you, obviously didn't have Sprint.
Come morning, I need a cereal that wakes me up and gets me going. These are just flakes. Just looking at it makes me want to snooze. Hold on a minute. Simple, wholesome, tastes good. Heavens, yeah. This could put some giddy up in my get along. What do you call it?
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? You got me, didn't you? I hate that.
Taste them again for the first time.
Sunday, Luke Perry drops his Beverly Hills zip code for a pair of chaps and a long ride in the saddle. Plus the cool jazz sounds of Branford Marsalis, Sunday on Today.
On Focus this evening, our subject is money and jobs. New jobs are being created despite the weak economy, but a growing percentage of them are part-time. They don't match the pay, the benefits, or the security of jobs lost. Jeff Madrick shows us what's happening.
For 16 years, Dennis O'Reilly was a manager at a hardware supplies wholesaler outside Columbus, Ohio. But the only job he was able to land since being laid off in March is this part-time position as a coordinator for a summer jobs program.
Well, the savings account's about shot. I'm lucky enough my wife has a job.
The 39-year-old father of 3 bought a $100,000 house only a year ago.
I didn't feel as though that, this would ever come about.
Then I went to the unemployment office in Newark.
When 51-year-old Eva Ray Bauer lost her 5-year job at this drug retailer, her 18-year-old daughter had to drop out of college and go to work. Unable to find a full-time job after a 9-month search, she took 2 part-time jobs and makes about 20% less than she used to.
Gave probably a lot of things up. We just stayed home a lot more. I just don't know where all the jobs are, the good jobs.
Greg Wins, who runs a job training program outside Columbus, says he sees more and more of this.
I'm not sure what job's permanent anymore. I just don't see it. So there's more and more temporary employment, lower wages, less benefits.
The economy has created nearly 1 million new jobs in the last 6 months, well below average for an economic recovery. But lately, the number of those that are part-time has risen sharply. In April, the number of part-time jobs grew by 84,000. In May, 227,000. Last month, a rise of 318,000 part-time jobs. Economist Phil Braverman says that because part-time workers are not counted as unemployed, many believe the economy is stronger than it really is.
This economy is actually very deficient in the creation of jobs, and that's a major factor in keeping the U.S. economy quite weak, in keeping consumers very pessimistic, keeping their spending on a short leash, and in effect it's keeping the economy growing at perhaps the slowest recovery pace ever recorded.
What economists fear most is that as more people lose confidence and cut their spending, the economy will only get weaker. Jeff Madrick, NBC News, Columbus, Ohio.
And we'll have more news as we continue.
A woman is different than a man. Her system is 3 times as likely to become irregular, and harsh laxatives can upset her. Correctol is the gentle laxative made especially for women. Its special formula combines a mild laxative with a softener, so it works gently, predictably, overnight.
No wonder more women trust their systems to it.
Correctol, the woman's gentle laxative. You can trust it. Now also in new easy-to-swallow caplets.
I really didn't want my husband to color his gray hair.
But then I discovered this, the hair coloring called Just for Men.
And now he looks better than ever.
Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Just for Men blends away the gray for a totally natural look. No wonder 8 out of 10 women prefer the Just for Men look to the gray look.
It's like you took off 10 years.
And in just 5 minutes.
Just for Men. She'll love the way you look.
Skyscrapers are built to stand indefinitely. Monuments to technical achievement. At Infinity, they wanted luxury cars that would endure. So they patented new methods of construction to reduce body flex. So seams and joints stay tight. Visit your Infinity showroom and drive the new Q45 to see how rock solid it feels. Better yet, drive an old one.
Lease one of the world's most advanced automobiles, now at a very special rate for a limited time.
Excuse me, do you make these delicious fat-free Snackwell Devil's Food cookies?
Why, yes, I do.
Want to tell us why we can't find them in the stores anymore?
Well, what is this?
You got some explaining to do, Cookie Man.
Devil's Food cookies are on the way. Meanwhile, keep enjoying the other Snackwells.
It kills the germs that cause bad breath. It fights plaque. It battles the gum infection, gingivitis. It's Listerine antiseptic. It's there to protect you.
Time now to look at some of the stories that made news this past week. No smoking zones may be spreading in most states, but not in North Carolina. Last night, the state legislature passed a law requiring that at least 20% of space in all public buildings be set aside for smokers. North Carolina is the nation's largest tobacco-producing state. Are you happy or unhappy in your job? That's what members of the former Soviet secret police, the KGB, were asked in a survey this week. Many complained of low pay and a loss of job security following the end of the Cold War. When asked what they liked most about their spy jobs, a common answer was the perks, especially secrecy. And another spy secret was revealed this week. In Britain, the Secret Service, MI5, issued a booklet telling a little of what it does, and Stella Remington, its director, allowed herself to be photographed, the first time the identity of an MI5 head has ever been made public. In Japan, an earthquake and tidal wave devastated communities in the north of the country. The death toll has risen to 167. 95 people are still missing. In this country, a major cleanup for the Everglades. The plan calls for state and federal governments, as well as private users of the land, to pay for the cleanup of polluted waters. In Los Angeles, federal authorities broke up a plot of white supremacists to blow up a church, kill blacks, and set off a racial war. And controversial medical news. Researchers said they found a genetic link to male homosexuality, but the finding needs to be confirmed by others. And also this week, some surprising information about single mothers. Remember the uproar between Dan Quayle and the fictional Murphy Brown and her baby? Well, the Census Bureau looked at its numbers and found that life is imitating television. Or perhaps it's the other way around. Here's Mary Alice Williams.
Want me to open your juice for you?
Karen Shadow was 39 when she decided to have Kelby, without a father in the picture.
I decided at around age 36 I couldn't live without a child, so I decided to do it on my own.
Ever since Murphy Brown waddled across America's living rooms, there's been a political pie toss over the changing shape of our families.
And it was somewhat glorifying illegitimacy.
Turns out, Murphy Brown was actually reflecting reality. In the last decade, the percentage of professional women giving birth out of wedlock has nearly tripled. Among college-educated women, the numbers have doubled. Black and Hispanic women are still more likely to become single mothers, but the percentage of white unwed mothers is twice as high as 10 years ago.
I think women in my position who are able to make this choice are only making this choice because the men in our lives are not committing.
I think there's sort of an irony here that as women get more independent, they're more able to take care of their children alone. And yet, how can they really be equal and independent if they've assumed 100% of the child rearing?
And what happens to the children when men no longer fill an essential role in their lives?
For a generation, children of single parents have had a far greater tendency to do poorly in school, have emotional problems, become unwed mothers themselves, and become trapped in poverty. A record 47% of all single mothers today are on welfare.
Mama, black sheep, have you any wool?
But old statistics don't apply to this new generation of middle-class Kelbys, products of the new single mother movement. It'll be 20 years before we know how they've coped in life without father and how America has changed as a result. Mary Alice Williams, NBC News, New York.
And I'll be back with some final thoughts.
Day 2. Details, details, details. They think of everything. After a day of sightseeing, Royal Caribbean had iced tea and juices waiting for us at the dock. Back on the ship, an artist was carving an ice sculpture for the midnight buffet. That kind of attention to detail seems not the exception but the rule. We could all learn something from the way they do business at Royal Caribbean.
You've got some Royal Caribbean coming.
Oh, some son I have, ringing me in the wee hours from America. He saves money, I lose sleep.
Avoid international incidents. Introducing the most worldwide from Sprint. The only calling plan with just 2 12-hour calling periods, so it's convenient to call and save.
Oh, you hung up?
Get the most worldwide. You'll rest easy. And so will your relatives.
Now get $50 free long distance with the most worldwide. Only from Sprint.
Oh, my back hurts and I had a game this afternoon. So I'm taking Advil. I know I'll feel better soon. More doctors recommend Advil by name to relieve backaches than any other brand. And you know, just one Advil is as effective relieving pain as 2 regular strength Tylenol. With Advil, there's no reason to let a sore back keep me from swinging. So now I can think about my game instead of my back. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
I'll never go back to denture paste or powders again.
Here's why. C-Bond Denture Adhesive. 2 powerful adhesives in a soft, micro-thin seal bonds dentures to your gums, can hold comfortably all day.
You'll never go back to paste or powders again.
C-Bond.
A complete update on the Great Flood of '93 and the debate over gays and lesbians in the military. Is a compromise possible? Sunday on Meet the Press.
Finally, this evening we saw how many people are working at part-time jobs because a weak economy is not generating enough full-time jobs. And this week we learned that one major company, Procter & Gamble, plans to reduce the number of its jobs by 13,000. Now, Procter & Gamble is not cutting the jobs because it is losing money. In fact, it is making money. Its chairman said this week, quote, "We are a healthy, growing business with a strong balance sheet and positive cash flow." But he added, the company must slim down to stay competitive. Other companies have done the same thing, tightened their belts before they got into trouble. You see the trend line here. It's one thing for a company in trouble to lay off workers. IBM and Apple Computer are doing it in order to stay in business, to survive. But when strong, profitable companies do it, one wonders. Not whether it was a sound management decision, no doubt it was for Procter & Gamble. But today, if even strong, profitable manufacturing companies feel the need to cut jobs, who will create new ones? Good, full-time jobs. No one yet has come up with that answer. And this, 2 years and 3 months after the official end of the recession. That's our look at our world this Saturday. I'm Garrett Utley. Good night for NBC News.
The last day of work.
Late Saturday.
It was the worst arson spree in U.S. history. No one could believe who did it, and neither will you. The Fireman.
An all-new Dateline NBC.
Tuesday. Is your boss spying on you? It's like being raped. Are tiny cameras recording your every move?
No one seems to trust anyone.
Is the company you work for using modern technology to pry into your personal life? They should be scared to death. You could lose more than your privacy.
NASA will try again to launch